Hi quilters, I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. Thanks for joining me today as I show you how to cut and sew our Go Morning Star block. It is such a great block. It finishes to a 12-inch finish block, so nice and big. Now, first of all, let's talk about this die. The die that it comes on is called a block on board, or in the AccuQuilt world, we call it a bob. So all the pieces you need to make one 2-color 12-inch finish block are all on the die board. Now, if you'd like to make more than a 2-color block, you can check out our patterns at AccuQuilt.com. Great thing about this die is we've screen printed the letters for easy placement and piecing. We've also added that 1/4-inch seam allowance and specialized dog ears, so everything is going to come together beautifully. All right, quilters, here's my tip of the day about your fabric to fit it on this die. So basically what you want to do is cover shape A and shape B with subcut fabric. So in order to measure how big your rectangle should be for shape A, I just measured from here to here, added a 1/4 inch, which measures to 12 inches, and then the height at a 1/4 inch, which measured to 4.5. So I just rough cut 3 white and 3 black pieces of my fabric, all 4.5 inches high by 12 inches wide. And then quilters, you want to make sure that the lengthwise grain as it travels across the die board. Right, so I'm going to just cover my shapes here. Now, each block only needs 4 of shape B, so I've just pre-cut 2 of the black to lay it on here. And now as I run it through the cutter, it will cut all the shapes for one entire block. All right, quilters, to cut my pieces, I'm going to add my 6x24 cutting mat. You always want to make sure that your cutting mat matches the size of your die board. So I'm using a 6x24 die. I want a 6x24 mat. If you use a mat that's bigger than the die board, it has a tendency to shimmy as it goes through the cutter, and your pieces aren't going to be cut perfectly. All right, today I'm going to use my Go fabric cutter, but since this is on a 6x24 die board, you could use it in your Go Baby, your Go Me, your Go Big, or even your studio cutter with the appropriate adapter. All right, I'm going to put it right here. Turn my handle. Quilters, just think how long it would take you to cut these pieces by hand. This is such a great die. All right. Here we go. All right. All right, quilters, as my die has come through the cutter, static has built up. So what you want to do is give your mat a little bit of love, kind of rub it down a little bit, and then slide the mat off, don't lift. Otherwise, those pieces fly everywhere. All right, now look at this. Ta-da. Just going to peel back my fabric, and now I have all of my shapes for one entire block already cut. So quilters, the first step you want to do is you want to take one piece from your block and just fold it over here to this triangle and sew all of one side so you can chain piece them. So from each block you would take this one and sew it to this one, and sew it to this one, and so forth. So I'm going to take my 2 pieces that I'm going to sew together. Now listen, perfect 1/4 inch seam, because we have given you that 1/4 inch seam allowance and we've cut off the dog ears for you. So again, you would just chain piece all your pieces. Now next, you want to press your seam at this point open. So I'm going to grab my iron right here, my little pressing mat. Okay. And it's really important that you press your seam open at this point, because what happens is, quilters, there is so much bulk in this block that if right now you don't press your seams open, it's not gonna lay flat, okay? So take the time to press them open. All right, and then you're gonna put it back here, and you would do all around the block, okay? So now this is the first step. So what do you think the next step is? You're exactly right. Now you're gonna come to the other side. So I have a couple of them here so I can show you how easy it is to chain piece these. So let me do these two. I'm gonna tell you that it's easiest to chain piece from the end that has already been sewn to the end that has not been sewn, okay? Come right here, do that great 1/4 inch seam allowance. Do the next one. So look, here's the seam that's been sewn. Put my triangle right on top. The great thing is, because you've cut the pieces evenly with our die, they're gonna go together perfectly. All right. And then quilters, you would just continue to chain piece all the way around your block. And just like we did before, we wanna press our seams open. Come right here with my little iron. I'm gonna tell you, quilters, that this is probably a block for an intermediate quilter. If you're new to quilting, it might be a little bit more of a challenge, but I am all up for a challenge. So if you just take your time, follow the instructions, lay out your pieces, your blocks are gonna go together perfectly. Okay, do my last one right here. Ta-da. All right, so see how I did that? And we're just gonna go all the way around the block. So now you're gonna get to a point where you've sewn the two pieces together, and now you need to add the top triangle. So what you're gonna do is just add this top triangle right here, just like this. Look how pretty that is. And I think I have two done, so I can do a couple here for you. See how easy it is to chain piece? The steps for each piece are the same, all of the shapes on the block. So let's do this one as well. Oh, actually, I'm gonna do this one so that I can show you how to put them together. All right, here we go. I do love a die that allows you to chain piece, because then you can just sit and sew, okay? Pull this off here. Now, here's the tip. When I was sewing my block together, this is what I learned. Normally, see how we've pressed those seams open? But I'm gonna tell you, once we've sewn the triangles together, you want to press to the dark side, and I'm gonna tell you why in just a second. Okay, come right here and press, okay? And then come right here and press away. The reason is I'm gonna sew these two triangles together. And since I have pressed to the dark side, where those seams come together, they are going to nest, okay? So let's sew these two together. All right, so see, look how perfect they are. And I love it because those points are gonna look just beautiful because we've had that 1/4 inch seam allowance and we've sewn our perfect seam. All right, here we go. I would tell you, since we have nested these pieces together, we don't even have to pin them. We can just sew them. But take your time. Okay. All right. And now look how pretty that came out. Now, quilters, I'm going to tell you that this is a finished block. Let me move my pieces here so that I can talk about it real quick. Here's the finished block. The other block that's included in this quilt is the same block, only it's a different colorway. So instead of having the black corners, the other block has a white corner, okay? So keep that in mind when you're doing the pattern. Recognize that there are two distinct blocks. If you have any questions, you can give us a call at our customer service line, but otherwise, check out some additional patterns at AccuQuilt.com. I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. Remember, at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more.